get out of 13 in a hurry to have any shot at a pass down into 1. Makes it very interesting. The pace car, the Celine Mustang, is on its way. Let's take you through the starting lineup. As you can see, row 1, Brian Simo, 2/10 over Paul Gentilozzi. Row 2 will be Mike Lewis and G.J. Menon, his best qualifying effort of the season. Now, keep in mind with Paul Gentilozzi that he is in the run for that Johnson Controls Triple Challenge. It was $50,000 if one driver could win all 3 of them. Paul started off with the win at Long Beach, but in the rain at Detroit, Brian Simo won it. Paul came home second, but with that win in the second in the first 2 of the 3 rounds, he's got a very good opportunity to clinch it here rather easily. We move to row 3. Your points leader, Chris Neville, alongside a Street Fighter extraordinaire, Leighton Reese. Johnny Miller and Randy Ruhlman make up row 4. In row 5, Max Lagarde and Bob Ruhlman. Row 6, Lou Gelati and Don Sack. We move to row 7, Steve Pelkey and Simon Gregg, the teammates, and Tommy Dreese and Schaefer. And right there, Pelkey and Dreese, they are players in the Rookie of the Year Championship. Steve Pelkey leads it by 8 points now over Dreese, but G.J. Menon is only another 6 back, and G.J. qualified 4th. Both Pelkey and Menon coming off of their best finishes of the season at the last race in Detroit. Steve Pelkey, you're getting a good look at him. He wants that championship. Continuing with the starting grid in row 9, Claudio Bertine, Ryan DeVries, local driver. Only a couple of races this year. Here's one up for sure. Jim Briotti and Rick Dittman make up row 10. Row 11, Kerry Alexander. He hasn't run a lot of races, but has been top 10 in every one. Frank Cipottini and Ed Hitchcliffe and Charles Webster make up row 12. Row 13 is Farmer and Fury. Row 14, Frida and Greer. That's one of the cars that played in the championship last year. In our final row, Coach Andrew, 5 grandkids helping him out at the pits today, and Tom Coleman, who had a problem in qualifying. Tom's normally much farther up the grid than that. We do have some great onboard shots for you. And first of all, there's a good look at Randy Ruhlman in the Preform Line Products Coyote Fasteners entry. He's starting 8th, number 49. And of course, we're going to have that shot as well as some others. Here's the look back at Johnny Miller. And of course, he's in the AutomationDirect.com Cutler Hammer Hitachi machine. And he has been very strong in the street circuits as of late. Your points leader is going to be giving us some great views. That's Chris Neville in the Tommy Bahamas casual wear machine. Again, leading in the points, but starts 5th behind a number of the players in the points. Also, Paul Gentilozzi, who we have seen from that graphic as one of the best on the streets, and he starts 2nd. And he's going to be giving us some great shots in that Homelink Johnson Controls machine. And your last one is your pole sitter, and what a year, 6th pole for Brian Simo in the Valvoline engine. Let's go back down to the pits quickly and John Bizignano.
Well, in talking to both Johnny Miller and Chris Neville, they have dialed in their chassis and found some time out on the circuit. They both say that they are about 7/10 of a second faster than they were in qualifying. Now look for them to use this extra speed to move up front.
Okay, John, and keep in mind, there was a pretty big gap in the lineup between Randy Ruhlman and Max Lagarde, and that 7/10 of a second could mean that the battle will go deeper still into the field. We are coming up on the green flag here at the Scott Brayton Memorial Street Circuit. We'll be back with the start of the Johnson Controls 100 right after this. Don't go away.
There's a moment as I bite into a Wendy's classic double with cheese when everything around me seems to come to a stop. My senses focus on that hot, juicy beef and cool, crisp toppings. For that frozen moment, all seems right in the world. Of course, nothing lasts forever. Then again, I can always come back tomorrow.
Wow, this is nutty.
Hamburger bliss. It comes with every Wendy's classic hamburger.
We're gonna change your mind about coloring your gray with the natural look of Just for Men.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men. No one can tell with Just for Men.
Just for Men penetrates hair deep inside where natural color begins. Simply apply, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Gray is gone, matched up to the rest of your hair.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men. Select road. Validating tires.
What kind of road can you drive on with BF Goodrich tires?
Approved. Enjoy.
Any road you choose. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
and we are looking for the green. Brian Simo brings the field up. Pace car is in. They've got those acceleration cones on the wall. They're at them. We're green. And we are underway with round 9 of the 1999 B.F. Goodrich Tires Trans Am Championship. Simo goes to the point right away. Look at that. Mike Lewis looking a little racy. Couldn't get it done. G.J. Menon feels pressure from Neville. This first corner, this first series, Dorsey, got to get through clean. So far, so good.
Well, it's good to see him go through turn 1 clean for a change. That's unusual at this street circuit. There's a big bump there in the brake zone. You make a mistake and you can slide right into one another. But right now, everybody clean out of there. Brian Simo with the lead.
Yeah, we're going to call your attention to that bump because it upsets the car something fierce. And Simo immediately draws away a little bit. Then Gentilozzi, then number 12, Lewis, the Amerisweets machine. Then 4, G.J. Menon, the Smith Eyewear Mustang. That's his best qualifying effort of the season. And right behind him is Neville. Then Leighton Reese, Miller. There's Randy Ruhlman. And we're going on board now from Paul Gentilozzi, looking back at Lewis. And Lewis piling the pressure on. And Lewis, of course, tied with Gentilozzi in the points. So there's a bit of a mano-a-mano battle going on here.
I think what they're doing, everybody's being very tentative. They're on street track, very cold tires right now. 650 plus horsepower. It's hard to hook up. One little mistake with the throttle pedal and you turn around backwards.
Although we watch, and again, Simos, he seems to be able to, on colder tires, really be able to get to speed comfortably faster than others. And this is the last turn right here, folks, turn 13. And in qualifying in particular, Doris, we're going to watch one of the race. Brian Simo was mesmerizing through there. He was on the throttle well earlier than anybody else, carrying glorious slides right out to that pit wall. He's been a joy to watch.
Well, the Raceworks team, I'll tell you what, they've got a good chassis set up for these street circuits. That car working really well. On board with Miller, you're looking right there at Leighton Reese. Of course, he builds his own car, and it does work well on the street.
And Leighton was in the top 5, looking at maybe a fast 5. Miller looks down the inside. No, Leighton shuts the door. But Leighton looked to maybe have a fast 5, and he was not in the fast group. He did an awesome job in one of the slower qualifying groups, but he got pipped right at the end.
He did get pipped at the end, and right there in the back frame, I just saw, I think, Randy Ruhlman maybe having a problem back there. I saw one of the cars pull offline. It is Randy Ruhlman who's having trouble.
He lost a couple of spots as Bob Ruhlman in the Sendwell Corp Camaro and Max Legat in the Hypermax Engineering Camaro went by him, so Ruhlman has slipped back.
Where he lost the time there, it's pretty easy to do. You come across a bridge that goes across the river. There's a big bump there. If your foot goes down on the throttle, the back end of the car steps way out. You got to get out of the throttle, and everybody else who doesn't have a problem goes right by you.
He just went through another turn, the back end slewing out badly. He may be a little loose, having a problem right off. Looking back at Lou Gelati, who was applying some pressure as well. We'll keep an eye on Ruhlman here, but the back end of that car does not look to be sticking all that well, and he really is tentative through that final turn out of the front straight.
We talked about it before. These are city streets. See the bump right there? Look at the cars as they go over that. If your foot is on the throttle and it goes down, 650 horsepower will break the back end of the car loose, and you'll have a big slide. And look at the concrete walls, how close you are.
Boy, some of the sections of this track, as we were working there through turns 2 and 3, when we get over into the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and on complex, it is much tighter even than this. This track is really a bit of a maze, and it really keeps your attention. There's no question. On board still with Chris Neville and the Tommy Bahamas machine as he is trying to find a way around G.J. Menon, who's been a great story this weekend. He had his best finish at 3rd at Detroit, but it's taken him a while to make the adjustment from a formula car to these Trans Am machines, but he seems to be coming on very strong.
G.J. definitely a good talent, no question about that. It did catch him off a little bit waiting. They're trying to figure out this real high, heavy horsepower car, and it's a heavyweight car too. So he's doing a very, very good job in his rookie year, and is definitely coming on strong. If it weren't for the fact that he had a bunch of DNFs that were not his fault at the beginning of this year, he probably would be your point leader in the rookie chase.
He's been very quick, there's no question. We are back on board, as you can see, with Gentilozzi watching the pressure from Lewis, who's got lots for Menon. And right now, really, that lead group that takes us, the top 6 or 7 or so, fairly close. And Simo had opened it up. Oh, look at this. Here comes Menon, locks it up, as does Lewis. They're both wide and both skate through, but neither of them were really in control. And when they got in, and there was that big bump again.
Good save there. G.J. locked the rears. You saw the back end lock up and twitch to the right. And good save by both guys to keep the cars under control, not make contact.
back on board with Neville as we watch the back end of Menon's car. And I was going to say that in a couple of laps, Simo had opened up a margin of about 1.8 seconds. That has shrunk again now to 1.2. So as everybody gets some laps running in, as you take a look at the running order here after 3 laps, you can see that that margin is coming back down again. And some cars and driving styles, the setup, the tires come up to temp and you can go quicker, faster, and others it might take a lap or two, but Gentilozzi does seem to be closing back in a bit.
Well, one thing Brian Simo said at the beginning of the show that makes a lot of sense is he said he was worried about his tires on long green runs. He didn't know how much the 125-pound difference between Gentilozzi's car and his car is. There's Ciabattini who's gone straight off. He hasn't made contact. That car should be able to continue, but you see the locked up tires there.
That's up in turn 4, and obviously just got in a little hot, couldn't make the turn. Now, this is his first time back behind the wheel at Road Atlanta. He suffered severe heat exhaustion and had to miss 2 races and had young Tony Ave jump in and replace him. But Ciabattini is back, and he's, I think, kind of just getting the feel back again. Dorsey, let's go back and take a look at it. And this happens so often in this type of racing.
Well, it's so tight around these racetracks. You know, you get in there. A street circuit is 2 things. It's a drag race zone between the corners. There he goes right there with the brakes locked up. And it's also braking at the other end. And trying to get the balance for both ends of the car to work is pretty hard to do.
Boy, they are really struggling trying to get him turned around and going again. When you lock up that bad, you tend to obviously kill the engine, and he may be having just a problem restarting. With 4 laps complete, there's your top 10 here at the West Michigan Grand Prix. We'll be right back.
When I'm working on my car, I don't have time to fool around. Everything's got to perform, like these Scott shop towels. They're strong, sturdy, work like cloth at a fraction of the cost of these. Did you ever try to wipe up a mess with a greasy towel? With Scott shop towels, you just grab a fresh, clean towel for the tough, messy work. Anything that makes this job a little easier is a big relief. Scott shop towels, on a roll or in a box. The performance of cloth at a fraction of the cost.
Hey, Michael, John here. I'm hanging out, having a beer. How come you don't come down?
Man, I'm doing the same thing as you. Why don't you come over here? I mean, the Miller Lite is ice cold and so smooth.
Oh, come on, man. From where I'm sitting, the Miller Lite tastes great.
Yeah, but the women are prettier over here. Trust me on this.
I find that very hard to believe.
And you guys call yourselves detectives.
Miller Lite. Taste the true Pilsner.
You know, we're kind of off duty right now. You know.
Hi.
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 The legendary Scott Brayton called nearby Coldwater, Michigan home, but in fact, he was an adopted son of the entire West Michigan area. He had 14 starts in the Indianapolis 500. He won the pole in 1995 and repeated it again that fateful May in 1996. It is with a great sense of wistful nostalgia and an even more profound sense of pride that this track carries the name, the Scott Brayton Memorial Street Circuit. Welcome back, everybody. We are under yellow, and this very challenging circuit has, in fact, taken a bit of a toll already since David Hobbs is not here, Dorsey. I'll say it. We had a grand carambolage just a little bit ago, and here is why you see the double yellows flying. And it is at the approach to turn 4 where it happened, Dorsey.
All there is right there is Chris Neville trying to get inside G.J. Menon. A little bump, not much, but it spins Menon around. Now remember, on the street circuit, you can't see very well. And look, Randy Ruhlman hits very hard into the side and front end of G.J.'s car, but it's not over yet because there's a lot of cars still coming. You see G.J. there trying to get out of the way. Now the track's totally blocked, and he's going to finally make it around. But that's not where it ends because there's still a lot of cars racing. Here, boom, there's another hit coming in, and that's going to start a chain reaction. Of course, that is Brian DeVries. He's been hit by Steve Pelkey. That's your point leader for the rookie championship, and this collects all the rest of these guys.
Yeah, there's number 24, Dittman, involved. Let's watch from Neville's perspective as he takes a run. He got out of turn 3 nicely, tried to run on Menon.
Well, he goes into the brake zone here. He's up alongside. He doesn't want to hit just a little bump. That's all it takes on the street circuit. I said at the beginning, the spin is a wreck. Well, this is about to be a big wreck. Ride with Randy Ruhlman. He's going to go around the corner. You can't see what's in front of you. As he makes the corner, look, nowhere to go. Big hit.
And, of course, he sat there as Menon wrapped around him and took off, and then he got collected again by DeVries. and knocked another 20 or 30 feet down the track. So, but look at this. Randy Rollman, boy, you make a Trans Am car tough. Randy Rollman sands a lot of body work, but he's still circulating.
Well, I tell you, he's got the front end off, but aerodynamics are not a factor in the street circuit. The guys are only averaging in the 70-mile-an-hour range, so it's not going to hurt it. But look at the cars that were involved. Menon, he's hurt. DeVries, Coleman, Pelkey, the rookie point leader, and Rollman. All these guys on 6 laps are now in big trouble.
And once again, we talked about how G.J. Menon had a great finish at Detroit, his best qualifying here, and now problems, and he's with John Bizignano.
Well, you're looking at the damage on the Menon car. This is what's taken him out of the race. He's lost a lot of fluids, damaged those radiators. He cannot continue. GJ, you just saw it on the big screen right behind us. What do you think?
Well, I think I definitely got turned around. You know, someone came in and got maybe a little too excited in the middle of the really early stages of the race and did something completely unnecessary. It's really too bad because we had a really good car today. I think we could have definitely finished pretty high on the podium, and you know, we were looking for our first win, our rookie season, and I think we probably could have done it today. But
well, actually, Chris Neville has actually radioed in to your crew and said, please pass along the words, I'm sorry, I went too deep.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we all make mistakes, and I certainly accept Chris's apology. I've made mistakes too in my career, but it's pretty hard for me to take right now because, you know, this is pretty important. Every race is pretty critical in this rookie battle for us.
And he was going to do great here. Further down the pit lane is my colleague, Connie Willis.
Yeah, I'm with Steve here, who turn 4 also took him out of the race. Steve, how did you see it?
Well, we were running nose to tail, and I went through 2 and 3, and coming into 4, saw the yellow flags, but by the time I saw him, I got through the turn, had no place to go, and I ran in the back of Mike Lewis. I think GJ and Mike got together, and they were parked in the middle of the track. I didn't even have time to turn, stop, or anything. I just hit him full blast, wide open. And looks like Mike's going out, but I'm done for the day. Feel bad for the crew. They worked so hard to get us here, and they've done such a great job all year. But unfortunately, it's not good for the fans either. There's quite a few cars out early in the race. It's a difficult straight deal. It's hard to pass, and when it's an incident, you can't see it because all the walls, you're driving in a tunnel.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Well, you had a good look for a minute there at Tommy Dreese, and that is a great opportunity for Dreese in the points. I know he hates to do it this way, but it is going to advance him up because he was not that far out. There it is after qualifying, and you can see Dreese was only 11 off Pelkey, and with both Pelkey and Menon out, Tommy Dreese, a good strong finish. If he can get in the top 10, Doris, he's there.
You know, we talked about at the beginning of the show, the top 5 guys and the overall took themselves out of the championship. Well, these guys are running for a championship too, and now 2 of them have taken themselves out of the thing. Dreese's going to have a lead leaving here if he keeps the nose clean all day and gets through this race unscathed. And
it's a good point about Miller as well, because Mike Lewis, who continues to run 3rd, but Miller has moved up now as well. That's going to help everybody, and that's one of the interesting things. Now, we've talked about this track and the fact that street circuits present very unique challenges, and there have been developments in the suspension technology, and Dorsey takes a look at it with our B.F. Goodrich Tires Tech Tip.
You often hear us talk about a 3-link or a 4-link car. Let me explain to you what that is. Basically, it's how they've mounted the rear end. You see these 2 parallel bars that run forward? Well, there's 2 on the other side as well, of course, this being a 4-link car. Now pay attention to the front. See the bolt holes there where you can change the angularity of that? Well, it changes a characteristic known as squat or anti-squat. Well, what is squat? Well, that's what John Force likes when his hot rod leaves the line with the wheels in the air, all the weight on the back, full maximum traction. That's fine for John because he doesn't plan on turning anytime soon. Of course, these guys have to have a balance front to rear. Now, in a 20-minute qualifying session, if you ask a mechanic to change that, he's got to stick his hand in there next to that 900-degree muffler. He's got to take that bolt out, have somebody hold it from the inside, and he's got to change it. Doesn't make him very happy, but he'll do it for you. Let's take a look at a 3-link car. Well, as you can see, a 3-link car only has 1 radius rod at the very bottom on each stage. That's 2 links. Now, at the top of the rear end housing is a 3rd link. It runs from there through the inside of the car right next to the driver, and it's hooked to what's called a screw jack. Now, all a mechanic has to do is stick his head in here, grab the wrench, give it a couple of turns, and he can make either more grip or less grip at the back of the car. Now, one thing I can tell you for sure, when you got over 650 horsepower on a street circuit, rear grip becomes pretty important.
Well, we are back to green, as you see, and once again, Brian Simo gets a bit of a launch and checks out. That Gentilozzi, Lewis, and now Neville has moved up, and Leighton Reese finds himself in the 5th position right now on board with Gentilozzi. Looking back at Lewis, you can see Neville behind him, but right now, oh, we get a report that 88, your points leader, Chris Neville, might be getting a stop-and-go penalty for jumping the start. That is going to play huge into this point scenario, possibly. He sits in the 4th spot right now.
Let me talk about jumping the restart here. It's a restart that they just had. There's an acceleration point on the racetrack designated by a cone, and you cannot accelerate it before it. Obviously, SCCA officials believe that Chris accelerated prematurely, and if he's got to do a stop-and-go, it's going to be a long day for the point leader.
One would suspect that Joe Huffaker or Bruce Qualley is right now seriously chatting with some SCCA officials in pit lane, pleading their case. That's tough to do. Here comes Miller, and he is putting a lot of pressure on Neville right now. We're on board with Miller at the AutomationDirect.com machine, and he has been very racy as of late.
Very, very racy. He's led his first lap in the Trans Am car. He's had the 2nd place podium finish, which is really good, and he's not far out of the points battle like we talked about. You see the car's twitching there. That's where that bump is. He's doing a great job. On the restart, look, he's taking a look right now inside of Neville, and that's in a very tight part of the racetrack with not a lot of room to be doing such things.
He settles back in behind the Tommy Bahama Resort Wear machine, and sitting there right now, and you can see up in front of Neville is Gentilozzi and the pressure from Lewis. And again, Brian Simo, in just a couple of laps, Dorsey, has opened up almost a 2-second lead on full tires. He and that car, that Belleville Mustang, seem to be absolutely clicking.
Actually, I was going to say that on the restart, Gentilozzi actually had a run going, got into the inside of him going into turn 1. Not enough to make the pass, and once that was over with, Brian Simo put the hammer down, and it's just really, I'm impressed with that car. It is a 3-link car like I showed you back there, and they've got it hooked up really well. And here's your stop-and-go penalty for Chris.
Neville is in, and this, as you said, that we suspect that's the stop-and-go penalty, and he's waved through to the end of the pit lane where the penalty box is, and is making the move there right now.
Now there's a pit lane speed limit here that he doesn't want to exceed while getting down there. There's the stop, there's the go, kills it. There he's having trouble keeping it going. This is a good way to lose a rear end or break a drive shaft trying to get out there like that with hot tires.
Or a clutch. We've certainly seen him burn up a clutch trying to rev up and get going again. He gets back out, and he continues as we remain in the early goings of the 64 laps of the West Michigan Grand Prix, the Johnson Controls 100 here in Grand Rapids.
They come to us for many reasons. Because we save them money on what they need with our everyday low price. Because we help them solve their problems and get them back on the road. And because we stand behind the parts we sell with a warranty that's good at more than 2,500 stores coast to coast. Fact is, people everywhere come to us because we're AutoZone, the largest auto parts retailer in America. And there's just no place any better.
Hi. Hey. You quit smoking.
He didn't quit. He uses Targon mouthwash.
Your teeth look whiter.
Look how Targon removes tobacco tar. If you smoke, use Targon. Now try Targon in a sparkling new fresh mint flavor.
Ice Sport. The scent of exhilaration from Aquavelva. Now available in new skin conditioning gel.
This week on NASCAR Garage, we'll check out engine and chassis dynos, learn how NASCAR officials inspect shocks, and a whole lot more.
NASCAR Garage, this weekend on the leader for motorsports coverage, TNN Motorsports.
If you run your own business, you can get a free trial version of QuickBooks from the makers of Quicken. Stay tuned.
8 out of 10 small businesses that use accounting software turn to QuickBooks, the fastest, easiest way to manage your business finances.
I use QuickBooks to write and print my checks for paying my bills.
I just click and instantly I see what I'm making.
QuickBooks Pro helps track my employees' time and create professional-looking estimates. Call for your free trial. You've got nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-403-5333.
Get ready to roll about! It's the Tucker Nissan and Dublin Nissan main event. A battle for Nissan leadership in the Bay Area. Get the sleek new 2000 Nissan Maxima or rough and ready all-new Xterra. Your choice. $269 a month plus tax plus save $5,000 $1,000 on every remaining 99 Maxima. Get knockout prices on Altimas, Pathfinders, and Frontiers. Buying on new Nissan? Call us first. It's the main event at Concord Nissan and Dublin Nissan. Through Sunday, 2,000 Maximas or Xteras, $269 a month.
You know, Johnson Controls has taken its support of motorsports to a new level, scheduling a corporate day for family and friends to come out, not only do a little racing, take a shot at some design elements, and even incorporating a little relay racing into the program. It was a lot of fun.
We started out by having just some employees get involved and engineers get involved about how the race cars are designed. That led into a little competition, and now it became a family day. The Soapbox Derby becomes part of the employee involvement.
Johnson Controls has truly taken this BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series under wing. This is the Johnson Controls 100, and we are in the midst of what's a pretty good dogfight. You're on board right there with Brian Simo, who had built up again almost a 2-second lead, Dorsey, and that is down to under a half second. And the battle behind him between Gentilozzi and Miller is absolutely intense.
Brian's slowing. I don't understand why. He had a pretty good lead, but he has lost the better part of that lead. And Paul Gentilozzi has been under heavy attack from the car you're looking at right there. That is Johnny Miller. Now, Johnny Miller has purchased the Corvette that Paul Gentilozzi is driving, and he told me he's having a reoccurring nightmare that he'll be racing Paul Gentilozzi today for the win, and that he's going to hit the Corvette by mistake and crash both of his cars out of the race.
And of course they have that 50-mile or 50-hour drive to Vancouver in just a couple of days time here. Up front you see Simo, and once again John Bizignano, he has lost the better part of a second and a half in just a couple laps.
Well, that might be by plan, guys. Remember at the beginning of the show he said, I'm worried about the 50-pound extra weight only towards the end of the race. Now, we've been talking with his crew, and he has been talking to this crew, and he says, I'm only running hard enough just to stay in front. He's trying to save those tires for the last few laps. With that extra 50 pounds, they are on new territory.
Well, Brian Simo, over the course of, he started racing in Trans Am, a couple of races in 93, almost the full series in 94, and Dorsey, he has certainly become a very savvy racer, along with being extremely aggressive, fearless, and fast. Let's talk about Johnny Miller. He's the only one of these lead group and the points contenders right now who has elected to put a harder compound BF Goodrich tire on that loaded left rear, and we've got a pretty long stretch of green that may be playing right in his hands.
Well, it's not hurting him, that's for sure. He can lean on that tire as hard as he wants to through this whole race and not worry about it. The one they have to worry about is Paul Gentilozzi. The longer it goes green, with a 125-pound weight advantage, the less tire wear he's going to get and less heated also.
Take a look at all of the hoses that are connected to Johnny Miller. The one by his chest is for a hot suit. The one into the helmet pumps some fresh air into the helmet area. We're taking a look at a full field summary there after 29 now of 64 laps here at the West Michigan Grand Prix. And Johnny Miller, absolute total concentration, and he really has been a factor these last few races.
And taking a look
showing
here.
the nose.
Showing the nose, and you didn't mean a hot suit, you meant a cool suit.
Did I say a hot suit?
It's plenty hot in those cars, folks, about 160 degrees in there, and you pump ice through a little vest that you wear that cools your body temperature down, but it is really hot inside that car.
Okay, a hot driver's suit with a cool suit hose attached. I'll work through this. I've got issues.
I don't know about that hot suit. That's not a good idea.
Not a good plan. Gentilozzi continues to feel that pressure. He has simply not been able to shake Miller. And as of the last couple of laps as well, Lewis has eased away a little bit from Leighton Reese and is really applying some solid pressure to Miller. And another great story, Dorsey, is now in 6th place is Bob Ruman, who continues to impress in this latter half of the season.
Bob Ruman having another really good race. He's been having a lot of good races for the latter part of this year, like you said. I'll tell you one thing I'm worried about with Johnny Miller. He's being very, very aggressive on the infield. You see that he's faster than Gentilozzi in the tight part of the course. Now, that's all well and fine, except for one thing. You do the most tire damage, you do the most wear, and put the most heat in the tires in those twisty bits. And you can't pass anybody. So being faster there isn't a really good idea. And that falls back to what Simo has been saying. He's not running any faster than he needs to get where he's going.
Chris Neville, you recall, had that stop and go penalty, and we should clarify that. That was for a pass under yellow. We got a correction from SCCA. It was a pass under yellow, and he fairly quickly moved his way up into the 9th spot. But now, Dorsey, he's hit that group of cars that are running very quickly, and Lou Gelati has turned so far the fastest lap of this race, and Neville's attack has pretty much been stymied at this point. He's caught certainly Gelati, but now he's trying to work through.
Well, let's watch him here for a minute. Look at Gelati's car launch, the Corvette leading the Mustang, and that's something I know that Huffaker Engineering has been working on Neville's motors, trying to get him some more horsepower, trying to get him some more torque. But watch the Corvette on this straightaway here. Look, it's just pulling away, and that's just a short shoot right there. When they get onto a long straightaway, which is coming up here in a couple more turns, I think the Corvette's going to have a clear straightaway advantage. In just a couple more turns, like I say, he'll come on through this corner real tight. This is fast through here. Down here into a brake zone. He'll brake to the left and then switch to the right, and we'll be on the front straightaway in front of the pits. There he goes. They both launch pretty equally, but look at the vet lead.
Boy, that is one torque in the engine and two get the power down at the back end of the car. And Lou Gelati sporting a new sponsor this weekend with Raikkonen Clean All on board, along with his normal sponsor, G2 Performance Parts. And he is having a very good run. Gelati, when he is on, is very, very fast, and we've seen that with that quick lap. Doing a great job. But look at Neville as they get through that chicane. Neville's thinking about it. This is where he and Menon came together. Not this time. Neville a little bit more circumspect that time through.
I'll tell you what, Neville's really frustrated right now. There's nothing more frustrating than having the guy in front of you outdrive you on the straightaway. That's just a tough deal.
So Neville is going to keep the attack. Meanwhile, Brian Simo, that margin, as we said, it dropped to under half a second. It is now back up to 1.5 seconds, and Brian Simo seems to have this one under control at halfway here in Grand Rapids.
Well, that's the hardest thing about a road trip, is deciding where the best place is going to be for the conditions. Usually there's a little bit of argument about, oh, no, it'll be way better here. Or, no, trust me, this is the spot. It's always, oh, is it going to be epic? Is it going to be huge? Is it going to be small and junky? After that, wheel into the Chevron, get the cooler loaded up with goodies, tank up with some Techron, and we're revved and ready to go.
For a great ride, use Chevron with Techron.
Oh, dude.
Here at hole 7 of the Cooper Tire Invitational, a long par 9,000 from Chicago. The green surrounded by water. We talked to our leader about this crucial hole.
Tough hole. I rely a lot on my Cooper tires and my low iron.
Here's some replays of you through the Midwest.
I had a few nice shots here in Missouri.
And then that impressive run down the Gulf Coast. We're live in the Everglades. Arnie lying 8,003.
The world is your course. Drive on.
Welcome back to the West Michigan Grand Prix in the Johnson Controls 100, and there is your leader, Brian Simo, who has been able to hang on to a lead of about a second. It'll go to a 1.5 seconds, it'll drop to half, and then it eventually reestablishes itself. Johnny Miller, who was chasing Paul Gentilozzi in the battle for second, dropped off a little bit, and he now has moved back onto Gentilozzi's tail, and Chris Neville has finally, after lap of chasing the back of Lou Gelati, look at what he did coming down into turn 1, and he got out of that last corner very well, Doris.
He needed to, because the Gelati car has more straightaway speed, but Chris did a good job, brought it in very, very deep, and now he's got turn 1 through to the last corner coming on the straightaway to get as much ground on Lou as possible, and I think you'll find now with Chris in the lead between those two cars, he'll be faster than he was from behind.
Good look at Chris in the office there, and in the twisty bits as you were talking about. Whoa, that's Gelati.
And it's got a blown engine or something. We got fire coming out. That car is on fire in the engine compartment. It's also coming out from down by the muffler. Yeah. That could also just be a dead motor that is loaded the fuel system up in the mufflers. I think he has blown a motor, and I think that's burning oil that you see in that exhaust pipe.
Well, perhaps as he was trying to fend off Neville, he just used that car a little bit too much. Neville was applying a lot of pressure.
I was just bragging about the motor in that car and how strong that Corvette was running. You know what they say, they always run stronger before they blow. Well, that one just blew.
Everything swells, the tolerances go to nothing, the compression goes through the roof, it's fast and it's gone. There now you see that battle, and again, Simo got held up a little bit in traffic, his margin. Oh, and we are full course. Due to that's a bad place for Gelati's car. There was nothing he could do. There was no way for him to get off the track. He just had to coast to a stop. and they're going to have to get him moved. Doris, we're going to take a look at when that let go, and it was big.
There it went. When it goes, it goes. And
That's
more
over
than
the roof.
likely, yeah, it's coming out from underneath the hood and coming up out past the cowl and over the top of the windshield. That's why it looks like that. But more than likely, there's a tremendous amount of oil, I would think, somewhere on the racing circuit, too, from when that thing broke.
Well, there you see the double yellows fly here at lap 39 of 64. And we are under caution. Simo, Gentilozzi, Miller, Lewis, Reese. Probably, I'm guessing, Johnny Miller would not want to see this with that little harder tire on that left rear of that car. The longer it went green, I think the more confident he was going to be in his ability to push everybody to the end.
Well, if tires are an issue, and I don't know for sure that they are with the new weight, this will help Simo the most because he's got the heaviest car, of course, of the top three, the other two being Chevrolets.
And Leighton Reese has had another good run, running in 5th. Ruman is 6th. Legato, let's take a look at that now as they have completed 40 laps. And there is your top 10. And one of the big stories there is in that Rookie of the Year, Tommy Dreese is now 9th. And with the other two out, that's going to be pretty solid for Dreese to at least approach, if not take the lead in that. Here's 11th through 20th at this stage of the race. And again, there's a driver there, Kerry Alexander. We haven't talked much about him. He only has run 3 races this year, and every time he's there, he seems to be able to come up with a top 10 finish, but he's got his work cut out for him. There you get a look at the Johnson Controls grandstand. Again, they are so involved with this. Let's check in with John Bizignano with more on that.
Well, we do have more on that. We have Mike Suman, who's the Group Vice President of Johnson Controls. We've been showing your people up the grandstand. Boy, they're having a great time. Listen, you sponsor Paul Gentilozzi. You sponsor Trans Am as far as a points fund. And you also are sponsoring this event. What does your company get out of motorsports?
Well, there's several things. First of all, we have a huge event with our customers on the West Coast with the LA race. We have a big event with our customer involvement in Detroit. And Grand Rapids is big for our partnerships, people like Gentex, Microchip, sub-sponsors. We do a lot of product development. And then the third thing is just a lot of fun for our employees.
You actually are looking for new employees at this event. You actually have the human resources people out here to talk to people about your company.
That's right. Johnson Controls worldwide, I think, has 92,000 employees, and we need some more engineers, more manufacturing people. So we knew that there'd be 150,000 people here this weekend, so why not put up a tent and take some applications?
What would it mean for Paul Gentilozzi to come home with a great win at your event?
Oh, you know Paul, I'd love it. You know Paul well, and he's just been a workhorse for the last 2 years for us, and it would just mean a lot to all of us.
Congratulations on a great weekend.
Thank you.
Paul Gentilozzi gets a little bit of a break inside the cockpit. You saw him flexing his hand. That's the shift hand. Boy, it is hard work here at the West Michigan Grand Prix.
You know, for fellas like you and me that love hunting, take a look at this baby. With real game hunting, stalk the big game from the majestic buck to the ferocious black bear. He loads quick, too. Real game hunting from Playmates Electronics.
How about a friendly game of pool? Real shooting pool, that is. Listen to that break. Pull back on the cue for 5 different games with 360 degrees of pool shooting action. 8 ball in the corner pocket. Rack 'em up. Real shooting pool.
It's time to face the facts, ma'am. That battery has passed on to a better place. At Advanced Auto Parts, it's our job to help this woman find a new battery at a great price. And if she can get down here, we'll install it for her free of charge. For this is the role we play in the automotive circle of life.
Today,
in the Atlantic Fleet,
on board USS Enterprise, character was forged. Valor was commended.
minds were enlightened.
Lessons were learned.
Fears were conquered.
Worlds were discovered.
Honor was defined.
Courage was found.
Commitment was sealed.
Today on board USS Enterprise,
over 5,000 journeys began anew.
What did you do?
What did you do today?
Call 1-800-USA Navy. Let the journey begin.
Don't try this with Gojo or Fast Orange. Only new Castrol Super Clean Hand Cleaner removes dirt and grease without water and without towels. Maybe those other cleaners should throw in the towel. New Super Clean Hand Cleaner.
Don't miss a close-up look at the people who race in the fastest series on wheels. See the pure power of NHRA's 300-mile-an-hour rockets on Darrell Waldrop's Racers, September 5th at 3:30 Eastern on TNN Motorsports.
more exemplary performances of curling coming up.
Bull. 18 hours of bull. TNN slinging more bull than a political rally. Back-to-back, back-breaking, drama-busting PBR bull riding. Plus, all the smoking of NHRA drag racing and 100% grade A SA racing action. TNN beeping it up all day long. PBR bull riding, NHRA drag racing, ASA racing. 18 hours of bull. Labor Day on TNN.
Welcome back to Grand Rapids and the Scott Braden Memorial Street Circuit for the West Michigan Grand Prix. Good look there at the Van Arndel Arena, the Trans Am paddock area, and the race course here. And a big crowd once again on hand. You can see some of the cars that are cycling through. There is some of the really rabid crowd. They love this race here in Grand Rapids, and it has been a good one so far, no question of that. And we're going to take a look here at a car that is, he's been a player all season. He's a sophomore driver in the Stonier Transportation Camaro. That's Simon Gregg, and he's one of the 2 cars from Durhog Motorsports. And when you take a look at the multi-car teams and which one is successful, you've got to go with Jim Durhog's team because 2 of the cars are in the top 10. And, of course, the other driver was leading coming into Rookie of the Year points here, Steve Pelkey.
The reason I'm here is not because of my performance, it's because of the team performance. I was fortunate enough to get on the best team in the Trans Am Series, Jim Durhog and Jim Durhog Motorsports. Preparation is by far the best. He knows how to prepare a car. I finish every lap, and if I don't, it's my own fault. The car is never broken, and it's just consistent, and that's what's got us where we're at. And if there's any opportunities for improvement, it's in the driver.
It's been great finishing, most of these races, knowing that the car is reliable and always there at the end of the race. So getting a lot of good experience here.
Both these guys I had write down on a piece of paper what their goals were before they signed with us for the beginning of the year. And the only way we could fulfill their goals was to do what we've done forever, which is give them a car, just like we gave Chris last year, that runs every lap of every race all year long, doesn't break, scores points. And that's what our game plan is. Just keep out there and keep making laps and keep scoring points.
And he mentioned Chris. That's Chris Neville, and it was the Durhog team that took him to the Rookie of the Year last year in another great season for them. Now, we talked about Neville in that battle with Lou Gelati. Well, Lou Gelati had his problems, and he's with Biz.
Lou Gelati, fastest lap of the race, and here you are sitting in the pits. You look very discouraged, mate.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened to the LG Motorsports Raikkonen, all clean, but I think we had a water hose blow off. It just too much to get going. Get back out in the race, but the car was good. We had a setup that was, we built the car, set up the car for the end of the race, and boy, I'm really pleased to see that we had fastest lap.
Earlier told me you were getting a little discouraged about this whole thing. How do you feel now? Does the fastest lap help bring you back center?
Oh, it brings my spirits way up. I'll tell you, Gentilozzi, Simo, all these guys are great. This series is tough. We build our own chassis, our LG Motorsports chassis. We do it all, run our own team, and I'll tell you what, to be as fast as these guys, we're happy.
Well, it's a green flag, guys. They will be ready for Vancouver.
They will indeed. He'll be a factor there, as he always is, and we are green. Lap 46. We get back to it of 64. And once again, watch for it here as, Gentilozzi a little wide, very sideways, Dorsey, but Miller was just a little too close to be able to do much.
I watched him launch onto the straightaway off the last corner, and Simo's car absolutely planted the power down. No sideways motion whatsoever, and that is the key to why he's leading all these laps. He gets off these corners, no wheel spin, a lot of launch, and they've got that chassis working. Excellent for this race.
We've seen it on both of the restarts and the original start. We'll see if it happens again. But Simo quickly able to open up that second and a half margin and then just sort of keep it stationary there.
Gentilozzi's car just stepped out a second time when he got on the brake pedal. The back of the car switched. It's very tight and slippery through here, and the drivers are working extremely hard. You're going from first gear to second between these straightaways, and then you're having to brake quite hard and turn at the same time. And if you get a little bit too much rear brake, the back end will step right out. You just saw that with Paul's.
On board with Brian Simo. Let's take a look at our race reset. The leader has been Simo since the get-go. He's led all 45 laps there. We have had 2 cautions for 17 laps total. And the average speed, green flag racing, 76.6 miles an hour. And that's kept going up. So they are going faster. Of course, you'd expect that a little bit, even with some tire wear, with the fuel wearing down and everything. And here comes Miller once again as we're on board with Gentilozzi. And Johnny Miller wants by.
I was talking about the back of Gentilozzi's car stepping out, and it might be rear brake bias. Let me tell you, we're halfway or past halfway in the race. What's happened is the back end, the fuel load is burned off. The back's getting lighter. The rear tires have gotten more wear than when we started. And so Paul has some adjustments he can make. I'm sure he's doing it right now. He can change the brake bias from inside the car himself, make it go more toward the front. He can also soften his rear sway bars up and make it hook up the power at the back a little bit better.
Yeah, keep in mind, Johnny Miller, he's further back in the points than the rest of them, so this is a great opportunity for him to run close here. He is also in front of Mike Lewis, which helps, and boy, is he applying a lot of pressure, Biz. Paul Gentilozzi is definitely feeling the heat from Miller.
Well, we just talked to his crew, and Paul Gentilozzi feels that the race pace has been very, very fast. Even with these yellow flags, he feels that he has done some damage to his tires. That's not a tire problem, it's just how hard he's been having to run with that competition. He must manage the entire package to have any speed at the end.
Well, I tell you, I just saw him come off the last corner right before he got to you, Biz, and he left twin black streaks all the way from one corner to the next, meaning mega wheel spin at the back.
And every time down into turn one, you see Gentilozzi in a bit of defensive mode, and he runs wide again. There's a little whiff of smoke. He must have locked something up.
He did indeed. He locked the front tire up, I'm sure, and he saw the smoke from onboard Johnny Miller's car, and he modulated away from the brake pedal and got the thing under control. But Paul's car right now is beginning to look like it's becoming a handful. Watch right here. See the car sit sideways as he gets on the throttle, and that's where that little bump is. But that's wheel spin. Here comes Miller taking a look at the brakes on at the end. He's going to get him.
Oh, he got a great run. Nothing Gentilozzi can do, and Johnny Miller has moved up into second. That is going to affect Gentilozzi's momentum just a little bit, and Lewis was looking like he was thinking about it. Couldn't get anything done there either, but Johnny Miller has taken the AutomationDirect.com Peller Hammer Hitachi Camaro into second. Johnny Miller displaces the Street Fighter with a great move, and there is your new top 10 after 46 of 64 here on the Rumble by the River.
Craftsman has come up with another smart solution that simplifies projects and saves you time. The Craftsman Speedlock Drill and Driver System, exclusively from Sears. This patented Speedlock Quick Connector is the heart of the system. It fits any drill and works with keyed or keyless chucks. The Speedlock's simple click-in, click-out action makes changing bits so easy you can do it with one hand without re-chucking. With the collar snapped back, the bit is securely locked, and you're ready to drill with any of the 7 hex shank drill bits that are included with the system. The Craftsman Speedlock system also includes this magnetic screw guide. It makes driving screws easier, faster, and safer. And you'll really love the screw guide sleeve. It acts as a stabilizer and guide, so you don't have to use your fingers to hold screws while you drive them, and they go in straight every time. The screw guide comes with 7 different screwdriver bits, so you can work with Phillips, slotted, or square head screws. At just $19.99, the Craftsman Speedlock system is essential for anyone who owns a drill. Choosing the right tool can make any job go more smoothly. And with the Craftsman Speedlock system, drilling and driving is faster, safer, and easier. Whether you're working around the house, remodeling, or building crafts, Speedlock saves time and energy. The exclusive innovative design turns any drill into an efficient tool you can count on for high-quality performance every time. The Craftsman Speedlock system makes work easier, and with its revolutionary quick-change design, it's the fast, convenient way to tackle all types of drilling and driving projects. It's just one more example of how Craftsman makes anything possible. And because it's from Sears, your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back.
Call now to order your 16-piece Speedlock system for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. You'll receive the quick connector, screw guide, 7 Speedlock drill bits, 7 screwdriver bits, and a convenient storage case. Use your Sears card or other credit card and call 1-800-644-8855. That's 1-800-644-8855. Call right now.
We are back for the Johnson Controls 100 here in Grand Rapids, and there is Johnny Miller. And Dorsey, once he got by Gentilozzi, he's quickly opened up a bit of a margin. The question is, does he have enough to chase down Simo?
You saw Paul right there again, light the tires up. He's really having a handful with his car right now, and he was holding Johnny up, not intentionally. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that his car has gone off substantially. Now he's got 2 choices. He can dial in the chassis, like I said, from in the car, or he can back off and let these tires cool. You might be seeing that out of Paul right now.
Is this perhaps a little bit of a factor of him switching from the Mustang to the Corvette, a little bit different handling characteristics, and they just aren't as familiar with this car as they were the Mustang?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, he ran this car last year, obviously, and won the championship in it, but he's been in the Mustang all year long, and the cars are totally different in their feel and so forth. So it could be a little of that, or the chassis setup might not just been what he needed it to be.
And there is Gentilozzi. There goes Lewis, and the battle behind them is quite intense as well. Lewis in the Amerisweets entry has closed up, and as we said, he's really applying some pressure now to Gentilozzi. And remember, these two, this is the battle for second in the points, absolutely tied. Now we drop back. There's Leighton Reese. There's Bob Ruman, and there is Neville. And Neville has set sail once he cleared, of course, Gelati, and then Gelati had his problems. He has had the opportunity to cool his tires off at the yellow, but the guy who's impressing me, Dorsey, is Bob Ruman. He was awesome at Trois Rivières, and he's strong again here on the street.
That's Bob Ruman right there in the red Camaro you're looking at. I'll tell you one thing about Chris Neville's car. It does not get off the corner well at all. Bob Ruman left him soundly as we were watching that before with Gelati leaving. Max Lagarde, that's Max's car, and he's got big smoke.
He has smoke billowing out of the cockpit, and he gets well out of the way. And Simo, he saw Simo coming. I'm sure he saw lots of blues and did a nice job to get out of the way. Here comes Miller and the rest of the pack on board with Brian Simo. Once he got around Max Lagarde, he now has absolutely clear track. Here comes Lagarde, and here's Gentilozzi and Lewis coming up behind. Max knows he's wounded, and he will do everything he can to hit the disappear button, as it were, and get out of the way. But, boy, Max trying just to clip back to the pits. Remember, Road Atlanta, he had a fire and was smoking through the cockpit. He looks like he's a little bit more comfortable with things right now, so maybe just something let go in the engine compartment, and he knows what it is.
He looks like he's got a big oil leak or something. He knows it. You're right about that. All he wants to do is get it to the pit lane to the attention of his father, Jerry, who takes care of this car for him, and he's doing that right now. I'm sure he'll pull off to... Now he stays on the racetrack. Unbelievable.
Well, maybe he got word from Jerry that they weren't ready to deal with whatever the problem was, and if he knows it's not anything super severe, maybe he can get out there, stay clear of everybody for another lap. On board again with Gentilozzi as we look back at, again, a very persistent Mike Lewis.
Mike Lewis smells blood. He saw what happened to Gentilozzi's car early on. He saw it slipping and sliding. He saw Johnny Miller get around it. Now he wants part of that action himself. He wants to get his car up there, and he wants to force Gentilozzi to make a mistake, for him to slide the back of that car just a little bit too much, and so he can get his nose inside of it.
We were chatting about the woes that might be befalling Paul Gentilozzi. John, do you have more information on that?
Absolutely. We just talked to the crew. They have received a radio message from Paul saying he's just not happy with the handling of the car after that yellow flag. Dorsey, I think you said there was a lot of tire spin. He's not happy with the back end of the car. It's very, very loose. What can he do inside that cockpit, Dorsey, to try and sort things out?
Well, John, we talked about that. The two adjustments that he can make is he can take the sway bar. There's Max Lagarde has pulled off now. His day is ended. He can take his rear sway bar and soften it, which makes the rear of the car roll more, gives it more rear bite. He can also take and he can put some brake bias toward the front if it's a brake issue. But I think really it's a rear tire issue. Max Lagarde parked at turn 5. His day is done.
Yep, just past the river right there, and he has moved off to the side. Oh, and we are going to get a full course yellow, apparently. Very quickly, let's go down to the pit lane, and Johnny Miller's crew chief standing by with Connie Willis.
I've got Quinn here. Johnny Miller's a happy man. He got past Gentilozzi finally and heading up towards Simo. What were the changes you made for that to happen?
We just let our automation direct color hammer Hitachi just past Paul, and we got one hard tire on the car with this many green laps of racing in. Brian only has 2 soft tires in the back. We think he's burning his tires down. We're catching him at a 2/10 lap, so I think we got him.
Well, again, that's a savvy plan, I think, going with that hard tire. But, Dorsey, every time there's a yellow, that allows the guys on the soft tire to cool it down.
It does indeed, and it's going to help Chris Neville because now he's going to be at the back of this pad. And he says he thinks he's got him. The crew chief thinks he's got him. But remember, Brian Sibble is pretty savvy. He might be laying back a little bit.
All right, and I get word that it was not a full course caution. We saw the indicator come up on the monitors. However, they say they are going to be able to take care of Max Lagarde's car. They waved off the full course yellow. It's a stationary yellow on the corner, and we continue to race. And that is indeed not only good news for Brian Simo, who is continuing to run very strongly, but for Johnny Miller, who's got that hard tire and wants to run off the soft compounds in front here at Grand Rapids.
No multi-million-dollar contracts, no victory laps, not even a winner's circle. But if you think these weekend warriors who run the SCORE Desert Championship Series take anything for granted, think again. Which is exactly why they run with the Duralast battery from AutoZone. A battery so tough, so dependable, we back it with a 2-year free replacement guarantee. The next time you hit the road, don't settle for anything less.
Select road. Validating tires.
What kind of road can you drive on with BF Goodrich tires?
Approved. Enjoy.
Any road you choose. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
It's the biggest race in all of drag racing, the U.S. Nationals. See 4 hours of high-speed action from Indianapolis Raceway Park, Labor Day, a part of 18 hours of bull on TNN.
Superior Bank helps homeowners who help themselves.
With Superior, we saved about $800 a month. We saved over $1,000 a month.
Now we have 8 fewer payments to make each month, and it feels great.
It is much easier to make one payment than to make 5.
I was able to cut my payments by 1/3.
We called other lenders,
but we chose Superior. Even if you're a homeowner who's been turned down before, call Superior Direct at 1-888-678-7777.
Critics are calling AutomallUSA.com magnificent. A must-see website. 4 stars. Just point, click, and drive. Save time, save money, avoid the hassle. Buy or sell. New or used. Any make, any model. AutomallUSA.com.
Welcome back to the Scott Mayton Memorial Street Circuit in the West Michigan Grand Prix. Brian Simmel continues to lead, and his margin has now opened up a little bit to about 3.5 seconds, and you can see Miller got by. We are back at Grand Rapids, and Brian Simmel, well, you can see the margin there as he works through some of the twistier bits. You don't even see that battle. There it comes with Gentilozzi in the game behind him. But Simmel is now going to start to be closing in on some traffic, and we have seen that that can play a huge role in it. There's Gentilozzi chased by Lewis and Miller, and Gentilozzi continues to struggle with the setup on that car, and Connie Willis is with the crew chief, Mark Strickland.
Yeah, Mark, Gentilozzi is just ready to head up front now. He is really going. Do you think it's the tires?
Everybody's tires are pretty tired right now. Paul's rears were pretty slow to come back after the restart. Made the car real loose. He didn't want to hold Johnny Miller up, so he let him by. Then everything started to come right, so we'll see what happens.
Are you going to take Simmel by the end of the race here? Is he going to do it for the crowd by taking Simmel by the end of the race?
Well, we'll have to see what happens here.
Dorsey, as you mentioned, obviously, Paul, a lot of experience, and he has gone this route before when a car hasn't been quite right, and he knows what to do inside the car if he can. But look at Lewis. Oh, what a run. Here he comes.
Into turn 1. This is the brake zone. Oh,
and did Paul squeeze him? And look at this.
Slammed the door on him. He's locked the tires up. Paul's locked up right now.
Oh, contact there between Miller and Lewis as well.
Lewis spun. Johnny Miller goes on, and Gentilozzi was in full lockup. We'll see that again, I'm sure. But he was completely locked up. That's what all the smoke was right there. And he's got a flat left rear tire. His day is done.
Gentilozzi's tire is done. And it is right down now to the rim. That's unbelievable. And he took Lewis so far to that wall. I wonder if he cut something on debris.
No, they hit side to side. I bet you he's knocked the valve stem sticks out, and I think he knocked the valve stem off when they made contact. We didn't see it, but I'm sure that's what's happened. That tire is shot.
Let's take a look at what happened in replay from the turn 1 camera coming at you. And there is Gentilozzi. You see the run that Lewis makes right there, and he's already tries it.
Yeah, there's the touch right there. See, Paul moves over, tries to block him, and they touch. That takes his valve stem off. He now has a flat tire, quickly deflating. And look here, Lewis spun his own car trying not to get into Johnny Miller.
I'm intrigued, though, because they touched with Paul's right rear to Lewis's left front, but it was the left rear in Gentilozzi's car that went down. I wonder if it wasn't maybe some debris.
Well, or some more contact further up the road there. But in any case, Paul's car, or maybe even that was a slow leak that was starting to make his car deteriorate so bad. But in any case, the flat, he's done.
Well, that's a good point. We're going to have to try and find out exactly what happened there. But, of course, now that gives Simmel, I would suspect, with all of that going on behind him, another 3-4 seconds. and he's going to be running very clear, and Gentilosi's in.
Paul Gentiloni is in the pit. They have had heavy damage on the left-hand side of the car, both to the right, both to the left front and left rear. The left rear is totally shredded, but that's not from a defect in the tire. Of course, the whole side of the fender there has been very heavily hit. Paul Gentiloni is out of the pits, but my God, it was a quick stop, but of course it cost him the race, guys.
No question of that, and that points situation now is really going to struggle in Dorsey. That's the nuances. We took a look at that graphic early in the show about who has done very well on street circuits, and Paul Gentiloni, by a big chunk of points, seemed to be the guy. But street circuits, they have their own nuances to it. It is very, very tough indeed. So here comes Gentiloni. He's back on track right now. And let's go back and take a look at that incident, but we're going to try and pick it up even sooner if we can out of 13. I wonder if he didn't clip the wall back there.
Watch
it
Lewis.
didn't look like it.
Lewis is by the wall. They hit right there the first time. That was a hit.
And
like
his tire goes down right here, though, and it's the other tire.
Yeah, you're right. He had a flat tire already. Absolutely right. And there's the spin by Lewis.
All right, let's go on board with Paul Gentiloni. And this is the same incident. Watch it, and we're going to let you enjoy it real time.
You know what's going to happen here. He's moving over. They just made contact. Now, the left rear is cut flat. That had nothing to do with that contact with Lewis. Of course, right here, watch Lewis. He's going to end up spinning to try not to hit Johnny Miller. Johnny Miller comes out the best in that whole deal. And this makes our point situation very, very intense going into another street race next week.
And Miller was all crossed up as well because he got trapped outside Lewis, and they both had to try and get around Gentiloni. That was some great driving on Miller's part as well. But boy, up front, Brian Simmel looking incredibly strong as a result of all that.
Brian's the man. I'll tell you, look at that. The car doesn't twitch. He's not rushing any of these passes on these back markers. He's letting the race come to him. He is totally in command of the situation right now.
So Brian Simmel and the Raceworks Valvoline machine continues to lead, and now lead very comfortably indeed. Brian Simmel also is going to do an awful lot for his points championship chances. He said early, we need to win as well as be consistent. He's accomplishing both.
Good morning, Mr. Clark.
Morning, Tommy.
Good morning, Mr. Clark.
Morning, Tommy.
Good morning, Mr. Clark.
Morning, Tommy.
Amazing. That car never ages.
To help keep your car young, protect your engine with Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car.
There's something about a Wendy's classic double with cheese.
I'd have made the same choice.
It's hamburger bliss.
After everything we'd been through financially, we needed a fresh start.
No one would give me credit because my entire credit history was attached to my ex-husband's.
With other companies, I had to put money in a savings account before they'd even give me a credit card.
I didn't know how I was going to build good credit when I couldn't get any credit at all.
With this Visa card, all it took was a quick phone call and I was approved, and the card came within just a few days.
And Providian's the first company that didn't punish us for mistakes we've made in the past.
After I made a few payments, I got even more credit, and it was nice to go into a store without checking to see how much money was in my wallet.
When I called, it wasn't just for an application. After just a few minutes, I had a $1,000 credit line. Me.
Providian treated me with respect, and I didn't have to put money in a savings account. And the fees, no problem.
It feels good to finally get the credit you deserve.
The Visa Classic Card from Providian. Apply right now over the phone and get up to $1,000 in credit. There's no savings deposit required, and you can earn even more credit after just a few payments. Get the credit you deserve and call for your Visa Classic Card now.
We are back at Grand Rapids as we are closing in on the end of this 9th round of the BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Championship. And again, Paul Gentiloni's problems, that Johnson Controls Triple Challenge, that he looked to maybe have the only shot at the 50 grand. He now be struggling to pick up some of that, the smaller fund to anybody with the best points tally in that. And Brian Simmel, who won at Detroit, if he wins here, even though he had big problems certainly in Long Beach, could be a factor there as well. But more importantly, certainly to Brian, not to take anything away from the Johnson Controls Triple Challenge, very prestigious. What he's looking at, he would like to win his first Trans Am Championship, and he may be going a long long way to getting himself back into position to do that here.
Well, the Johnson Controls Triple Challenge is money, and money is good, so he likes that. But you're right. He wants this championship, and to get it, what's he got to do? He's got to win this race. He said it at the beginning. He is winning this race quite handily. He's got to stay out of trouble, and it leads him to the next one. This is going to tighten up the top 5 considerably.
And one of the nice things for Brian, from his perspective, is with that big lead now, he can sort of backpedal a little bit and not have to push quite as hard. Here he comes. There is Simo, and he works down into turn 1. We believe 2 laps to go, so next time by we'll have the white flag. So he really just has to hang in there and be very consistent. He's got lap traffic in front of him, but he can almost lay off a little bit, pick his spots to pass that traffic.
He can, but these guys
look
can't.
at this. And Reese now has caught Miller and bringing Neville with him.
Leighton Reese, Neville, and Miller. This is for position, and these guys, with 2 laps to go, are really going to get after it here.
And Neville, remember the points leader, he's going to want to get by Reese, who's really not a player in the top 5 in the points, but he's got to be careful, too.
Look at everybody leave. I mean, every time he comes off a corner, his car falls behind. Look at that. Look at Leighton Reese just accelerate away. Of course, in front of that's Johnny Miller, so you know he's accelerating. And Mike Lewis, he didn't need this, has had an accident, and that is all antifreeze or oil there. Oh, boy.
And that is a substantial hit. And that is in turn 1, which is the great overtaking area. You know, that'll be a yellow now. See what we can find. It was just caught. He'd already hit. And there's the damage.
That's not the problem. Of course, his race is ruined, but look at all that oil and antifreeze, and it's offline, thank heavens. He fires the engine. This is the outside of the racetrack that we're looking at, so it won't be a factor for Brian Simo. He just got the white flag. He's on his last mile and a half.
Brian Simo, 1 to go, and there's the traffic in front. He's got to get by it before he gets to any yellow flags. Oh, boy. He had started that pass, so he might be okay there. Oh, that one car very close to Lewis as we are on the last lap, and Simo has to just hang on. There is the, I think that's Randy Ruhlman's car. No, excuse me, that's Ed Hinchcliffe's car. And so this is Simo just has to be very careful to pick his way through traffic.
Right now, he's got it made. I mean, all he's got to do is just finish up a half a lap. But that was a tenuous moment back there with all the oil and with that debris flag you saw there and the not passing thing. Of course, Brian Simo, that was his first time to the accident site, so they'll probably leave that go.
And of course, we'll have to see now. Oh, another bit.
And Leighton Reese has crashed. That was a battle for 3rd place that was going on. Reese was in 3rd place. Obviously, his day is not going to be a 3rd place finisher any longer.
Oh, my, and what a great run Reese had. He has excelled on street courses for
look at the skid marks.
Oh, boy.
He had a big moment. That's from way, way, way up the racetrack from where he made the impact.
The car continues to continue on around. Meanwhile, here comes Brian Simo, last turn, and Brian Simo picks up another win from his 6th pole. And Dorsey, he controlled it start to finish.
He gets all the maximum points. That's what he had to do. He had the pole position, got his points there. He led the most laps in the lap, got the most points there, and won the race. That's how you win a championship. He's got 5 to go, 4 to go.
4 to go at this point, and look at this.
Look at Reese. He's got a flat tire, and he just made contact
with Ruhlman. He's just trying to get home and get something out of this.
That car, look at it. Oh, boy, look at it dog walking. It's really got the back end knocked out askew there.
But, hey, Leighton Reese, he is an old ice racer, and he has driven cars sideways for a lot of years.
Look at the rear axle sticking out the left-hand side. That car is all cockeyed right now. Look at it. See the left rear wheel?
Yeah, here he comes, and he's going to finish.
He got to finish.
And immediately slows down. What an absolute bit of determination by Leighton Reese.
And that was a big wreck.
That was.
That was there's the skid marks right there. Look how far those things go before he made the wall. That was a big, huge hit, you know, when he did that. And that's what's knocked the rear axle out of the thing. Look at a replay here.
Upper
top right
right-hand
corner.
side, yeah.
Top right corner. Oh, he might have got hit there by Neville. I can't say that he did for sure, but they were right next to each other, and that spin is in a straightaway.
2nd fastest part of the track, too, so any impact over there is going to be serious. So Leighton Reese, one lucky to get away with that, and then to be able to do what he could to get around to the finish. Remarkable. Looks like he may have held on for 4th. We'll confirm that. And Jen Losey may have come back for 5th. We'll sort it all out here in Grand Rapids. The Johnson Controls 100 and the Triple Challenge are done.
This man here has just heard a funny noise. Not ha-ha funny, but click-click funny. Now, he thinks he knows what's wrong, but he's not sure. It's our job at Advanced Auto Parts to help him figure out what's wrong, to get him the parts he needs, and to turn that frown upside down.
Of the Cooper Tire Invitational, a short par 3000 teeing off from DC. There's water to the right and a very tough pin placement deep in Maine. Quick recap. Our leader, nice layup. Then a great 4-iron here in Manhattan, and this tough shot over the giant green monster. Bill?
Thanks, Jim. Let's listen in.
Nice call on these Cooper tires. Good grip.
Back to you, Jim.
A quick peek to the back 9. Hole 10 starts off in Belgium.
The world is your course. Drive on.
So I always try to keep it simple, because if I forget that that person is a beginner and doesn't have the reference of all the knowledge and the years of training that I have, then you just overwhelm the person. So you always have to start with the basics, and one of the basics is a good gas, like Chevron with Techron, because that helps you run your best.
Help your car run its best. Use Chevron with Techron.
It sounds kind of simplistic, but it's really true.
Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN. Stop by your local Winnebago or Itasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on Winnebago Industries products, please call 1-800-643-4892. And over-the-road transit for this broadcast has been provided by Ryder Transportation Services. Going to give you one more look at what happened here with Chris Neville and Leighton Reese. You see Reese right there, and there was the contact, and he spun across coming out of turn 3. Reese got bogged down a little bit. Neville got up alongside, but Reese stayed put through 4, and then the contact at the exit. Interesting indeed. And as a result, Neville comes home in 3rd, Reese in 4th, but the winner is with John Bizignano in victory circle.
Brian Simo, congratulations on a great win. We got the reports that this was the best car you had all year long.
Yeah, I really think so. You got to really hand it to these Valvoline guys. Bruce and the Valvoline team just did an awesome job of putting this car together. My only complaint is my drink bottle ran out.
Well, he can take care of that, guys. In Vancouver, this is just what they wanted. The car's in good shape, and he is a winner.
In good shape indeed, and he looked so comfortable throughout that. A dominant run, no question, for Brian Simo. So an awesome job. Let's take a look at our unofficial top 10. Simo, Miller, Neville, and Reese. There you go. That was that finishing order. Neville actually doing what he had to do points-wise. Gentilozzi is going to improve a little bit as well. Simon Gregg, another awesome drive over Alexander Lewis, Schaefer, and Claudio Bertin. Let's take a look now at our point situation. After the 9th of the 13 races, Neville leads, but only by 2 over Simo, and he's got an 8-point lead over Gentilozzi, then Miller, and Lewis. This points battle refuses to open up at all. Very, very close indeed. So great job there. Well, we want to remind you, up next is the 10th round from Vancouver, British Columbia. It will be next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us. For Dorsey Schrader, for John Bizignano, for Connie Willis, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much for joining us here on TNN. We look forward to seeing you next time for more Trans Am.